Show, talking the issues and filling in for Martha. It's Dr. Tom Smiley on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
Well, that's right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, men and women. I think that pretty well covers everybody. Is that correct? Let's say boys and girls, men and women, ladies and gentlemen. I think that does cover just about everybody. So today, I'm telling you, I am loaded up for the old bear kill. I've got some great post-election analysis. And I will tell you, like I used to tell the folks that I was fortunate to pastor, every 7 days when I stepped into the pulpit, I always reminded the folks, God didn't call me to be original, just effective. So today on some of my post-election analysis, I've got two particular articles. One by a David Marcus that talks about now is the time to nuke the filibuster. And another one by, who is this by? Lee Hartley Carter about why New Yorkers voted for Madami. That's right, I say Madami. I know that's not his name, but that's what I say. I get to say what I want to say. So I'm going to look at those two articles and give you some feedback because I think they're very, very good and they're worth your observation. But ladies and gentlemen, I have some post-analysis commentary. Lots of things I want to say about what happened last night. Actually, not really disappointed. I mean, I wish that there would have been at least, one of the three. Who didn't know? I mean, who didn't realize that California, surely they're going to vote for Proposition 50. They get more money. They get more representation. So that's a no-brainer. Bunch of left woke Democrat Marxists out there. But let me just remind you, as you'll hear me talk about today, my post-analysis will come from the fact that I do have a biblical worldview. I have a biblical worldview. So I look at things differently than some others who might be crying in their coffee today. I'm not. I've got very firm faith. I know who is sovereign over this world. I know who has a plan. People say, what in the world is the world coming to? And I'll tell you, from my biblical worldview, I can answer that question. Do you want to know the answer? Get ready. Write this down. What is the world coming to? Let me give you the answer. Are you ready? Write it down. The end. The end. That's from my biblical worldview perspective. Now, you may not have that perspective, so you wouldn't agree with that. You wouldn't advocate that particular comment of mine, but that's my worldview. If you have some other worldview, then you have another answer to that question. What is the world coming to? So, ladies and gentlemen, pick up your heads. Don't despair. I think we should start with this wonderful reminder of tomorrow.
So you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may. Tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're always a day away. Tomorrow.
Hey, come on now. Pick your head up. It's tomorrow. The sun has come up. The world isn't coming to an end unless the Lord says it's coming to an end today. I haven't gotten that word. Haven't heard a trumpet. Haven't seen the eastern sky split. Post-analysis election. I'll begin by just saying this before we take our break in a moment. And by the way, Bill Crane, I hope, is going to call in at 10. I have lots of questions to ask Mr. Billy Crane. But the one thing I'm most disappointed about is not New Jersey, it's not New York, it's not even Virginia. What I'm most disappointed about is that Georgia had statewide election of 2 public service commissioners, 2 of the 5 were up for re-election, and they both were defeated, both Republicans, by Democratic public service commissioner candidates. I don't know what happened there. I will tell you that the GOP must do a better job. I don't know who's running the Georgia GOP, who's running the national GOP. I don't know. But it doesn't seem like we're able to get out the vote. It doesn't seem like we're able to fire up our constituency. I don't get it. I mean, the Democrats will turn out. Of course they turn out because they are turning out for free stuff, and that's their own best interest is served. So they're going to go stand in line and vote. Many of them will be paid to stand in line to vote. You know that happens in some of those real blue states. I'm not advocating that, but I'm advocating that the GOP better get its act together, and you better realize that it's not all about Trump. Trump is going to be gone one day. Now I will tell you about Trump. Trump's a lot like me. As I retired from the ministry, I'm now a member of the church where I served for over 30 years, and I tell the people I might be gone. I might be forgotten, but I'm not gone. So Trump will never really be gone. But we've got to be able to get people to turn out to vote for a J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio ticket. What's going to happen when J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio run against Gavin Newsom and AOC? If the GOP stays home, you're going to have a terrible outcome. Right now, people say, those coastal elites, they could never win. Yes, they can win if you don't turn out the vote. So why in the world did the public service commissioners lose? I don't get that. That puts a whole different shape on the senatorial race that's coming up and the 9th District race coming up and all the other races coming up. So people say, Tom, what are you most concerned about that happened yesterday? Well, what I'm most concerned about that happened yesterday is a public service commission outcome. That should never have happened. Now, in this area, in Hall County, both Republicans won, as you would expect. We'll ask Bill Crane more about that as we go along. Another aspect of the post-election analysis I'll give you before I get into the couple of articles later on is the Democratic shutdown worked as planned. It worked. I'm looking back now, and I'm seeing where do you agree with me? 770-535-2911. Do you agree with the statement I'm about to make? The cable conservative news outlets gave us a false sense of security. The conservative cable news media, they gave us a false sense of security. All we've heard for the last several months is the Democratic Party is dead. They're doomed. They're gone. Let me tell you something. Chucky Schumer is a really good political strategist. Don't think for a minute he didn't bank on the fact that in New Jersey and in Virginia, those government workers and those laid off people would blame Republicans, even though it's clear that it's not a Republican matter. It's clear that it's not fair to blame the Republicans, but nothing is fair in politics these days. It isn't fair. The Republicans are not responsible for the shutdown. The Republicans won the election. They passed the big, beautiful bill. They got out all the fraud and the waste. And the Democrats are holding them hostage by shutting down the government to put that fraud and waste back in. And they banked on the fact that the public would come to blame Republicans. And that's what some of the exit polling is showing. Now, I know it's stupid, and I don't know how you deal with that. I don't know how you deal with that low-minded voter, that voter who has I don't know how you deal with a voter who doesn't understand the issues, the complexities of the election. I don't know. But there's no way you can put the shutdown on the Republicans, and yet that's what we find happening today. That's what happened in New Jersey and in Virginia. They blamed the Republicans. They lost their jobs, these federal workers. So that's a couple of takes. I think we were sold some false security by the conservative cable networks. I'm not saying they did it on purpose. But I'm saying Chucky Schumer is smarter than you think he is. And now he will bring to close this shutdown because he got what he wanted. He got what he wanted. And now he is going to look a little better. And maybe AOC will leave him alone. I doubt it, but maybe she will. Let me tell you something about the Democrats. There's always going to be 41, 42, 43% of those people. They're always. The days of, only 25 or 30% are over. It's always going to be a woke, leftist, Marxist, socialist, left-wing 40+%. And what will overcome that is turnout. GOP turnout. So nothing is really surprising that happened last night. New Jersey should have been won by the Democrats. New York should have been won by the Democrat, socialist, communist, Marxist. That's who those people are. That's the bed they've made. But coming up after the break, I'm going to talk to you about a couple of particular articles because there's some reasons that Madame, I know it's Madame, there's some reasons that Madame won. There's some reasons for that. I'll tell you what those reasons are. You'll be encouraged by them. You won't like them, but you'll be encouraged by them. I tell you, I am hot today. Logan, I'm fired up today, aren't I?
You are. And we expected it, and here we are.
It's smooth.
Silky smooth.
Silky smooth today. So I've got lots of great audio for you. I've already sent Logan like 5 pages of audio clips. All kinds of good stuff is coming your way. But before we take this break, I've got to hear from the children because they will brighten your day, and then we'll go to our first break. All right, children. Take it away and then go over to Keelan's and get you an ice cream.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Fuel our discussions with your opinions.
We need to talk about common sense here.
We're the station that gives you a voice.
It's my local station.
We're North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Good food and good folks make a good meal. You bring the folks and we'll take care of the food. This is Grant Nichols. At Loretta's Country Kitchen, we use only top quality ingredients like our new Springer Mountain chicken tenders. They're bigger than other tenders and are locally raised, so they're always fresh. Speaking of fresh, we have an entire walk-in cooler dedicated just to fresh produce. That's why we say at Loretta's, it's all good. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's Loretta's Country Kitchen, Mundy Mill Road in Oakwood.
While technology has certainly changed the way people do business, it hasn't changed the way we treat our customers. It's Mike Cormier, and at Hardy Chevrolet, we are as committed to excellent customer service as the Hardys were when they started the business here in Gainesville over 4 decades ago. When it's time for a new or used vehicle, remember what Charles Hardy always said.
We love you and we need you.
Together, let's drive. At Hardy Chevrolet, Brownsbridge Road in Gainesville, online at hardychevrolet.com.
You wouldn't want someone you couldn't trust working on your family's HVAC and plumbing, so why would you call anyone but Gainesville Mechanical? They're your local, most trusted and award-winning HVAC and plumbing company in North Georgia. From maintenance appointments and clogged drains to plumbing emergencies and new system installations, their team is ready to serve you. And with their customer assurance maintenance plan, you can receive discounts, priority scheduling, and 24/7 no overtime rates. Gainesville Mechanical and Bryant, doing whatever it takes since 1989.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Harding Chevrolet Newsroom, municipal elections in Georgia sees many Northeast Georgia counties approving SPLOST referendums and making changes to the Public Service Commission. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
All right, well, welcome back. Hey, by the way, you can go to YouTube, click on YouTube, hit on the search bar, Access WDUN, scroll down a little bit, you'll see a little camera frame. Click on that, and you'll see me live and in person with my Duke hat on. That's right. Do you see my Duke hat? That's right, Duke, because Duke basketball is the greatest basketball program in the history of the game, bar none. Not even any discussion. I would put UCLA and Kentucky a distant second. That's right. Duke basketball, probably, well, no, the greatest basketball program since the inception of the game. And last night we had a big win over Texas. Tough Texas team. So I'm wearing my Duke hat today. Click on YouTube, go to Access WDUN in the YouTube thing there. Scroll down, you'll see it. Click on, and you'll see me with my Duke hat on. Beautiful hat, by the way. All right, let me just take a moment. We'll go to our break here at the bottom of the hour. When we come back, I've got a couple of stories. I want to tell you exactly why it's time to nuke the filibuster. And there are pros and cons, and I know many of you who are into political commentary and political thought, you're going to disagree with me, and I'm good with that. Text me your disagreement, 770-535-2911. Text me your reasons. Now, this is probably only for the thinkers, the political thinkers, the political junkies, I'll even say, because most people have no idea what the nuclear option means in the Senate. AOC would think that means we're going to vote to blow up Russia. But you understand, many of you understand the pros and cons of the nuclear option. I'm going to tell you why now is the time. We'll come back and do that at the bottom, after the bottom of the hour. And also, I'm going to share with you, I think Lee Hartley Carter nailed it. Look up her article on Fox News. Lee Hartley Carter. I don't know if that's a he or she. Nailed it with what that victory of Madami means. I know that's not how you say his name. I just like to say that. Just like I like to say Ashraf instead of Ashraf. Who is in my opinion, it's just my opinion, one of the worst senators we've had in the state of Georgia. Well, I would say he's tied with Warnock, in my opinion. Both losers, in my opinion. Two men of little principle, in my opinion. You can have your own opinion. But before we do that, let me just give you a couple of definitions, because let me tell you something. One of my core values. I have several core values that inform my political analysis, my political opinion, my political commentary. I have some basic core values. Like, for instance, I have a core value that I believe God is real. Now, go back up on that. So, that's just part of my core values when it comes to that. Also, that there are just two genders, period. Two genders. Now, that's from my biblical worldview and from my core values. You can have your own. Text me yours. If you believe there's 5, 10, 15, 20 genders, that's your opinion. You get to have your opinion. That's the correct definition for tolerance, by the way. Tolerance does not mean I have to accept as truth your opinion. It just means I have to allow you to express it. Most people think that tolerance means if I don't accept as truth your truth about something, then I'm being intolerant. That is hogwash. And besides that, it's not even sensible. It doesn't make sense. Do you realize how how idiotic that is to think that I have to accept your truth as truth? It's just plain idiotic, because you realize truth can never contradict itself. Either something is true or it's not. You get that, right? That's not a conservative point, a libertarian point, a communist point, Marxist. That's the truth. Truth cannot contradict itself. You cannot make me believe your truth is truth when it goes against what I know would be truth, because truth can't, either it's true or it's not. Either there are two genders or there are more than two. Either God is real or he isn't. And one of my particular core values is that capitalism lifts people from poverty. Capitalism. And that's something that the GOP has got to do. They better do it in the midterms and in the 2028 elections. You better start explaining the benefits of capitalism. Maybe we could start with some basic definitions. Like, for instance, socialism. Let's put it like this. We have about a minute, Logan, here. About a minute. I'll do this quick, but I'll come back to it. Write this down. Write this down, boys and girls. Socialism, that's like when you have two cows and you give one cow to your neighbor. Communism is like when you have two cows and you give both cows to the government, and they might let you have some of the milk. Fascism is you have two cows and you give all the milk to the government, and the government sells it and keeps the money. Nazism is when you have two cows and the government shoots you and takes your cow. Capitalism is when you have two cows, you sell one cow, and you buy a bull. That's about as basic as I can make the discussion today. All right, that's good. You got to say that's good. I see you smiling out there. Stay tuned. More coming your way. I'm Tom Smiley, filling in for Martha Zoller. We'll be right back.
This is Mike Martin of Milton Martin Toyota with a thought from God's Word. Have you been driving your car when the light on the dash begins to flash? For many years in the car business, I have seen this occur, and some people pay attention while others drive on as if nothing happened. Anger is like a light on the dash of your car. When it shows up, it's time to look under the hood. When we look, we find parts like self-control, stress, and fear that are about to boil over. Scripture says in Colossians 3:8, rid yourself of all anger, malice, slander, and filthy language. Jesus knows if we ignore anger, it leads to costly repairs. But when God works under the hood, those around us get to see Jesus by what he does in our hearts. Are there any lights flashing in your life? Have you looked under the hood? This is Mike Martin of Milton Martin Toyota, the oldest Toyota dealer in Georgia.
Talking with Haley from Clipper Stores, and of course, Clippers puts the C in convenience. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest things you've done is that drive-thru. It's fantastic.
Yes, you can pull through the Clipper drive-thru and literally get anything you want from inside, Bill.
I know when I'm on the road with the dog, I like to whip through the one in Claremont and say, I need a Dr. Pepper and some peanut M&Ms, and boom, right there.
And Dino can get a little treat, too. You got to get the little pup cup for him.
Clipper, never fly solo.
Kick off your holiday shopping and get great gardening advice at the same time. Join Homegrown for Marketplace at Lanier Tech's Ramsey Center. It's great gifts for under the tree and advice for keeping it green through the season. This Saturday from 10 till noon on your home of Homegrown.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 9:30. Fox News, I'm Therese Crowley. Election day after, Democrats sweep the most closely watched races. And the socialist mayor-elect of New York City running as a Democrat, Zoran Mondani, uses the moment to arouse New York against President Trump.
If anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him.
Virginia Governor-elect Democrat Abigail Spanberger focused on resisting Trump policies. She beat Winsome Earl Sears by 15 points. But Democrat Mikey Sherrill pledging to be the governor of all New Jersey voters.
I know not everyone voted for me, but I'm working for everyone.
After beating back Republican Jack Ciattarelli by 13 points, President Trump blames GOP losses on Senate Democrats' government shutdown at a strategy breakfast, saying we cannot be extorted, and watching Supreme Court oral arguments on the legality of his global tariffs. America is listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
WDUN. From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. Municipal elections for 2025 are complete, and locally, the city of Gainesville decided a council post and Board of Education seat Tuesday. On the city council front, John Elliott defeated Albert Reeves for the Ward 2 post, Elliott taking 67% of the vote and replacing Zach Thompson, who left that seat to run unopposed for Gainesville mayor. And Thompson, in turn, replaces Sam Kuvion, who is leaving the mayoral office to run for the 9th District U.S. Congress seat next year. Meanwhile, on the school board, Trey McFall narrowly defeated Amy McKinney-Kerr to win the District 2 seat. A full look at your election results can be found at Access WDUN throughout Northeast Georgia. A Gainesville man arrested on charges of felony aggravated assault and third-degree child cruelty after reportedly threatening relatives with a firearm Friday. More from WDUN's Hamilton Keener.
The Hall County Sheriff's Office says deputies responded to a residence on Rose Petal Street just after 9 p.m. Upon arrival, authorities determined 62-year-old Porfirio Galvez had gotten into a verbal argument with a male relative, then pulled a firearm and threatened to kill everyone in the house. He reportedly discharged the firearm, but no one was injured. Galvez fled the scene before deputies arrived. He was arrested Sunday and remains in the Hall County Jail without bond.
You'll find more news and election results by going online at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
A very good Wednesday morning to you, North Georgia. Mostly sunny skies. It is so beautiful. I hope you're enjoying all the sunshine. Afternoon highs, pleasant as can be, in the low 70s. Will be clear into the evening as well. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Lawrenceville, 56 degrees, Talmo, 57, and in Gainesville, 55. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
There's nothing like cool, crisp air of fall in North Georgia after a hot, humid summer. Conditioned Air Systems is here to get your HVAC system ready for the changing seasons. With regular maintenance that saves you money on your energy bill, and look no further for quick, reliable plumbing repairs or installation services. Conditioned Air Systems has been a trusted name in Northeast Georgia for over 45 years. Call us today at 1-800-AC-REPAIR.
This is Terrell with the Spa on Green Street. Exciting news! We're thrilled to welcome Dr. Elisa Reynolds and Kim Baldwin to our team of wellness providers. Dr. Elisa brings her passion for functional medicine, chiropractic care, and mind-body wellness healing, helping you to uncover the root causes of imbalance and guiding you towards lasting vitality. Kim combines her expertise in breathwork, mindful awareness, and energy holistic compassionate care. Come meet them both and appreciate a new level of wellness. SpaOnGreenStreet.com.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Well, I know I said that really quick going out, but what great radio. Ladies and gentlemen, what great radio that was. Did you see how I perfectly timed the last ism as we went right into the break? That is excellent radio. Let me raise my left hand, reach way back behind me, and pat myself on the shoulder. Very good. Thank you, Tom. All right, so did you get all that? Because I want you to understand, I mean, that's a very basic description of the isms. I mean, teach that in social studies. That's a good ism. Teach that in social studies. Socialism is when you have 2 cows, you give one to your neighbor. Communism is you have 2 cows and you give both to the government, and they might give you some milk. Fascism is you have 2 cows, you give all the milk to the government, and they sell it and keep the money for themselves. Nazism is you have 2 cows, the government shoots you and takes your cows. And capitalism is you have 2 cows, you sell 1 cow and you buy a bull. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me just remind you about something when it comes to socialism. You don't have to have a democratic socialist communist in New York in order to have socialism if you want it. Any of you listening to me right now, I'm looking out the window and I see all these precious little childrens, all these little childrens out there. And they're all lined up to go to the ice cream shop next door. They must have made an A or B in spelling or something. And so let me just tell you, anybody can go right now and live a life of socialism if you want to, except there is one small detail you need to understand. So listen to this. I don't know who this guy is. He's just a layperson, I think, but he pretty well sums up how it is that if you want to be a socialist, go be one, but just remember this.
So I've got some exciting news for all of the Democratic Socialists that are super excited about Mamdani up in New York City. You can already live as a Democratic Socialist within the United States. Yeah, you don't need to elect him as mayor. In fact, you don't need to change any politician, rule, regulation, or law for that matter. You can right now get together with a bunch of like-minded people, purchase some property, own it all in common, set up enterprises which you also own in common, and then produce goods and services for your own consumption or for trade. Yeah. You can already do it all. In fact, such communes have been established dozens of times within the United States. Now, they have all failed, at least for the most part. And the reason why was because the one thing you're not allowed to do in the United States is force people to stay on your commune. And it turns out allowing people to leave when they no longer like the results is kind of the poison pill for socialism, which you would think would inform us a little bit on the problems of socialism.
That's exactly what's happened all over the world. That's exactly what's happened all over the world where socialism has been tried. Cuba. Think about Cuba. Yeah, they've got that socialistic communist set up, and you know what? They can't leave. They're stuck. Unlike if you want to set up a socialism commune in America, go do it. Buy you some land, get some people together, and y'all make an agreement. But then if it doesn't work out, leave. That's not possible. In Cuba, they can't leave. Venezuela, they can't leave. Argentina, they can't leave. Everywhere socialism has been tried, it's failed, but yet people get stuck. And that's exactly what's about to happen in New York. If Mamdani is able to get through some of his socialistic, Marxist, communist ideals, if he can get that done, they won't work. And the people will become disillusioned. But they won't be able to leave. They'll be stuck. And New York will be run right into the ground. That's the simple historical fact, ladies and gentlemen. You can call that conservative talking points. You can call that, conspiracy theory. It doesn't matter to me what you call it. I'm just giving you some accurate political commentary. I'm telling you that's what's going to happen. So if you want to have a socialistic society, if you want to be a socialist, go get you 10 or 12, 15 like-minded friends. Go buy you 10, 15, 20 acres out in North Hall somewhere and start living a socialist life. And when you get tired of that, just pick up your little old family, move out of your mud hut and go get a real job in the city and start living a life of capitalism. But you see, that won't be the case in New York. Because many of those people will be stuck. The wealthy ones will leave. They're leaving now. You've heard about the Mamdani migration factor. The condos are going up for sale right now. I'm going to tell you, this is good radio today. I sure hope you appreciate it. I'm working hard to bring you some good radio. I mean, it was hard. I had to watch my Duke game and put together my post-election thoughts at the same time. That's tough. Now, I asked earlier. By the way, I love getting texts. I got a text before you went on the air. It's a text from Howard, And Howard has an issue. I've never thought about this issue. And Howard, I wish I could help you, but I can't. You're on the right track. You need to contact the VA and contact your 9th District representative. Contact your local senators. You're going to have to do that, Howard. I mean, this is going to take a lot of legwork on your part. But Howard's basic problem is that he served in the Georgia Army National Guard. He's classified as a veteran, but because he served during peacetime, according to Howard, and the president never actually, activated them, he's not technically entitled to any VA benefits. Now, I didn't know that was the case, but that's what Howard says is his problem. He served in the Georgia Army National Guard. His unit was never activated. He's classified as a veteran, but he's not able to get benefits from the VA. I don't know, Howard. I don't know. I don't even know. I'm assuming that's accurate because you just told me it was, but I don't know. You're going to have to walk that through the VA, your senators, your 9th District representative, and anybody else that will listen. So good luck to you, Howard. I know you feel like you're being shafted, but truly good luck. And I hope that you'll text me and let me know if anything ever got resolved. I got another text from a listener about the Public Service Commission. Okay, fine. I asked the question. Earlier I asked, what in the world are people thinking? 2 of the 5 Public Service Commissioners are now Democrats. Both Republican incumbents defeated. Both defeated in a statewide Georgia election. Well, here I have part of the answer. According to Greg from over in Loganville, Greg says, look, Tom, I'll just tell you. I've not voted for a Democrat in almost 50 years, but I voted for 2 yesterday. I voted 2 because Georgia Power needs, basically, he said, to get it under control. Georgia Power wines and dines these commissioners, and then they turn right along, according to Greg from Loganville, and vote for whatever it is Georgia Power wants. And our rates keep going up, and he said, I'm sick of it. So I voted for 2 Democrats. Well, Greg, I hope that works out for you. I hope it works out. If it works out for you, Greg, it'll work out for me. I have my doubts, but you know what? Maybe. So, I mean, I asked about it, and you told me. Todd over in Buford, I get a text from Todd, and Todd said, what happened in New York will be interesting to watch now. The local and national media will not report on the money loss that's now going to begin. These voters won't see any improvements in household income, so being more poor won't make them feel any worse. The rich can leave. Their household incomes and cost of living values will increase and make them feel like it's a simple raise even if they're getting paid the same money. To those bad rich folks, maybe they'll bring their voting. Maybe they won't bring their voting habits to Georgia or wherever else they go. Well, I'm afraid that's exactly what's going to happen there, Todd. I mean, they're not sensible. They'll leave New York because of the failed policies and come into Georgia, Florida, Texas, Tennessee, and support candidates of the exact same ideology. I saw where Governor Abbott, I don't know, he's not serious. Certainly he's not serious, but I saw where Governor Abbott from Texas, he's going to put like a tariff on people from New York. I don't know. I know it's just frustration speaking. All right. As I promised, I'm going to come to the article about, let's do the one about the nuclear option. I want to do that one when we come back. Many of you don't even know what that means, so let me give you a chance to go Google that as you're home or at the office or wherever to stop. Look it up on your device. Get on the same page with me. I'm going to tell you why it's time to exercise the nuclear option. Be right back. You're listening to Tom Smiley on The Martha Zoller Show.
Todd Starnes.
But if you want to talk about problems, talk about Joe Biden, who literally funded Iran's nuclear program.
It's the Todd Starnes Show, weekdays noon till 3 on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
What if I need to go into a nursing home? Will I lose my home? This is Kevin Tharp, elder law and estate planning attorney, and I'm here to give you some good news. The short answer is no. You will not lose your home if you need to transition to a nursing home. but they're steps that you need to take. I've made it my mission in life to help folks in your situation, but you need to make the first call. Visit my website at kevinthorpe.com and learn how to get help planning for the rest of your life.
Hi folks, Matt Hayes here from Hayes of Baldwin. If you're in the market for a new car, truck, or SUV, take a short drive and come see what North Georgia has to offer. We have 8 brands in one location, a great selection of pre-owned and manufacturer certified pre-owned vehicles. But that's not all. With 2 large service departments to take care of all your automotive needs, from maintenance, repairs, or just tires and checkups. Hayes offers friendly staff and excellent customer service. With over 50 years of a family-owned and operated business in North Georgia, come see what Hayes has to offer you. Hayes of Baldwin, just 3 miles north of Hall County on Highway 365.
Hey there, it's Cody Lovin, owner of Crawl Space Medic. Is your crawl space giving you trouble? Maybe it's moisture, structural issues, or even foul odors? Don't worry, my team and I, we've seen it all. At Crawl Space Medic, we specialize in crawl space repairs, encapsulations, and basement waterproofing, ensuring your home's foundation stays solid and protected. We're all about delivering top-notch service you can trust with solutions that last. Give me a call at 706-410-2400 or visit crawlspacemedic.com for a free evaluation.
Whether it's a slip that ends in a slip disc, a trick knee that's holding you back, or shoulder pain hurting your game, you can count on Northside Hospital Orthopedics. With leading care in Georgia at convenient locations all across the state, we're here to get you back on your feet, no matter what comes your way. Because Georgia moves us, and we keep Georgia moving. Find a provider near you at northside.com/ortho. That's northside.com/ORTHO.
November means cool mornings, falling leaves, and lawns that still need the perfect finish before the holidays start. Make it easy with an X-Mark from Howard Brothers, the mower built to perform when it matters most. From homeowners to pros, X-Mark delivers comfort, speed, and precision that keeps your yard looking sharp all year long. Don't let fall slow you down. Head over to Howard Brothers and power through the work with an X-Mark on your side. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with X-Mark and Howard Brothers.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, names of the deceased from an apparent murder-suicide shooting in Flowery Branch have been identified. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical, from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Well, we're back. And as promised, I want to talk for just a moment before we go into our top of the hour break. We got 12 minutes or so, whatever. I want you to listen very carefully because I want to talk about this nuclear option. And many of you out there, many of you political junkies, I know you have opinion about this because you know exactly what I'm talking about. You may disagree with what I'm talking about. You may disagree with my take on it, and I'm fine with that. Good. Call 770-535-2911 or text me. We've got lots of texts today. I'm getting to them as much as I can. So you understand what the nuclear option is, right? The Senate's nuclear option is a procedural tactic. And it allows for a simple majority to change a Senate rule or overcome a filibuster, similar to what's closed down the government. By bypassing this 60-vote supermajority requirement, the Senate can bring up items and get them passed with a simple majority. So that's basically what this nuclear option means. Now, there are some pros and cons to this, but I will tell you, I agree with President Trump. I agree that the GOP must go ahead and do this. I doubt they will. The more establishment figures, they're not going to do it. The John Thumes, the John Kennedys from Louisiana, they're not going to support it. It's just not in their blood. They don't have the bulldog fight in them that the Democrat, socialist, Marxists do. Here's Caroline Levitt talking about that, just about a minute or two. Listen to that, and I'll get more into the story as we come back.
In a moment, but let's talk about the filibuster. You've heard from John Thune. He is not going to change it, but President Trump says he wants them to scrap the filibuster. Has President Trump spoken to Senator John Thune about this?
President Trump has spoken to Majority Leader Thune. He's also spoken to our great Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. And he's spoken to the whole world by putting his position out on Truth Social in a very public and transparent way, as the president always does. And he is 100% right. Let's talk about what we are dealing with here. Radical left Democrats who have shut our government down and held the American people hostage for 32 days in a row. We have air traffic controller shortages all over this country. Half of our nation's major airports are suffering from severe delays as we head into the busiest travel months of the season. We have 500,000 federal workers who are going unpaid. SNAP benefits have expired only because of President Trump finding a legal maneuver are our troops continuing to be getting paid. If it were up to the Democrats, our military and our law enforcement would not be receiving their paychecks like the rest of the federal government workforce. And Democrats are not showing any sign of wanting to reopen the government. They want to give taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens. These are crazed people that President Trump and Republicans are having to deal with. And that's why President Trump has said Republicans need to get tough, they need to get smart, and they need to use this option to get rid of the filibuster, to reopen the government and do right by the American public. We know, Maria, based on the polling and based on common sense, that the vast majority of this country wants the government reopened. That's what President Trump is willing to do. That's what he wants, and he's willing to use any lever to make it happen.
Well, it's got to happen soon. The government must reopen, or we are going to have a serious hit to the economy.
And that is the problem. Okay, that's the problem. Maria hit the nail on the head there. That's what the Democrats are betting on. They want to go into the midterm elections. They want to go into the midterm elections with a down economy. And as long as they can filibuster and hold the president's legislation out of the Senate, the big, beautiful bill provisions won't be initiated. That's the problem. This pops up every few years, this government filibuster thing. You know, it pops up every few years. Well, I'm saying, in my opinion, I agree with President Trump. Look, President Trump knows how to fight. Say what you want to about him, but he has a very good understanding. He's seldom wrong on these kinds of strategic matters. It's the right thing to put this on the table. Now, I know what some of you who know what I'm talking about are thinking. Some of you are thinking like me. That's fine. Thank you so much. Others you think opposite of me. That's fine. Thank you so much. 770-535-2911. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Give me a word if you want. It doesn't, whatever you want to do. But many of you are thinking that, well, if Republicans pull the trigger, the next time the Democrats, these socialists, when they get into power, they're going to do the same thing. Well, you know what? They will. But they will do it anyway. Listen to J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is correct about this.
Something that I want every conservative to remember. It's an important part of my entire political philosophy is we cannot be afraid to do something because the left might do it in the future. The left is already going to do it regardless of whether we do it.
Can you believe that he and Kamala Harris had the exact same job?
Well, you know, Kamala Harris was a joke as a vice president. Our current vice president is a man of smarts, and he is correct. I'm telling you, I used to not think this way, and I know some of you out there, maybe I'd like to know if you're kind of beginning to move toward this nuclear option, because you see what's about to happen, don't you? Look what's happened in yesterday's election. Now, of course, we should have lost New Jersey. We should have lost Virginia. And obviously, California is going to change their district so they can have more representation. That's a no-brainer. New York, yes, we knew that was going to happen. But look at the exit polling data. That's what many of you miss. You just wake up depressed. But you got to look deeper. You don't be depressed. Look at the facts. And one very disheartening fact is that many people blamed the Republicans on this shutdown. That's one fact. The second fact about this is if you don't get the Senate moving on the legislation regarding the big, beautiful bill, it's going to be a big, beautiful bust. And that's what the Democrats want. They don't care about the average worker. They do not care about the average worker. That's very obvious. They don't care. So I'm just telling you, it's time. It's time because we've got to get other legislation passed in the next 3 years. If we don't get stuff passed between now and the midterms, the Republicans will lose the House. The Republicans will lose the Senate. And then, what they're going to take a moral victory that at least we didn't nuke the filibuster? Don't you think for 1 second that Cory Booker, Chuck Schumer, and that crowd, don't you think for a second that they won't nuke the filibuster when they get in power in order to promote their radical socialist Marxist agenda? Nuking the filibuster would give Trump and the Republicans at least a year to pass anything they want. 3 years if they hold Congress to the next election. I mean, what do we think? That the Republicans are going to just destroy America? No, I'm telling you, poll after poll says that most Americans do believe that the GOP has better economic vision. Their ideas work. Republicans have never been able to overturn Obamacare. And so this is a key for you to understand. You understand that even though we see how bad Obamacare is, it's not been able to be overturned. That strikes at one of the reasons that we shouldn't nuke the filibuster, because people say, well, if we nuke the filibuster, then whenever the Republicans are out and the Democrats are in, they'll undo everything that the president did. Not necessarily. If you get stuff passed that works for the American people, it's not going to be that easy for the Democrats to take away. Now think about it. Put on your thinking caps. We haven't been able to do away with Obamacare, even though it's bad, because people have gotten used to it. We'll talk to Bill Crane more about this subject when we come back. I'm Tom Smiley, filling in for Martha Zoller.
This is Terrell with the Spa on Green Street. Tara, every year someone asks me what to get the person who has everything.
Easy, Terrell. It's a gift card from the Spa on Green Street.
Exactly. A massage, a facial, or even a full spa day. Our journeys are amazing. They can choose whatever fills their cup.
Beautifully packaged. Simply come into the spa and get your gift card or order online at spaongreenstreet.com.
Where giving the gift of wellness is always in season.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapor Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapor Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10 o'clock.
Are the Trump tariffs legal? I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News. The U.S. Supreme Court is set to hear arguments in a landmark case over President Trump's executive power and tariff authority.
It gets to this. What does the text of the law really mean when it grants President Trump or any president executive wide-sweeping powers to deal with emergency situations? Does it mean he can levy wide-ranging tariffs to any country anytime he wants to? Well, they've lost all the decisions at the lower courts. Now, the plaintiffs, which include some small businesses, aren't buying the administration's argument that the president has the power to simply levy tariffs in any amount at any time he'd like to. This is from one of their briefs. They say that is a breathtaking assertion of power, and one would expect to see an unequivocal grant of authority from Congress to support it if the Constitution permits it at all.
Fox's Shannon Bream. It's day 36 of the government shutdown. SNAP benefits have run dry, but President Trump says they were being abused.
That was for people that really had problems, down and out, people that really had problems. But during Biden, they gave it to anybody that wanted it. I think it's something you have to talk about because the numbers are incredible.
The president also blames the shutdown for Democratic wins in the election. New Jersey voters keep their state under Democratic control. Fox's Gernal Scott with more.
Governor-elect Sherrill said while she relishes in victory, she knows taxes and high costs affect everyone in New Jersey. And some of those people made a different choice.
I know not everyone voted for me, but I'm working for everyone. Every single one of you.
Republican Jack Ciattarelli, whom Sherrill defeated, said he hopes when Sherrill takes the oath, she listened to what his supporters have said.
In terms of what we need to do to make New Jersey that place where everybody can once again feel they can achieve their American dream.
Ciattarelli had the backing of President Trump. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
WDUN. From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. The municipal elections in Georgia for 2025 are complete, and among last night's election results was a slew of contested mayoral races in Northeast Georgia. WDUN's Logan Landers with the results.
The closest race of the night was in Jefferson, where former City Councilwoman Dawn Mannix defeated incumbent Mayor John Howell by a single vote. In Lula, Bruce Lane will take over for outgoing Mayor Joe Thomas after Lane defeated Amanda Browning in Tuesday's election. In Houston, incumbent Mayor Debbie Martin won her re-election bid. Another incumbent, however, was unseated in Rabun County, where Benita Cotton Orr won the Sky Valley mayoral race over incumbent Holly Style.
Special purpose local option sales taxes were passed across much of Northeast Georgia Tuesday night. SPLOST measures approved by the voters in Hall, Forsyth, Habersham, Banks, and Stevens counties. Also, transportation SPLOST measures were approved in Jackson and Rabun counties. FLOST measures also were approved in White County Tuesday. The only such measure to fail Tuesday in North Georgia was a floating SPLOST measure that was in Union County. You can see the full list of results from the elections at Access WDUN. After an apparent murder-suicide in Flowery Branch, those involved have been identified. WDUN's Caleb Hutchins has the update.
The Hall County Sheriff's Office is reporting that 50-year-old Mallory Jane Whitaker of Gainesville was the victim in the shooting. The suspect, who reportedly killed himself after shooting Whitaker, has been identified as 51-year-old Adrian Gabrielle Alexander of Flowery Branch. Alexander and Whitaker were the parents of the 9-year-old child who witnessed the shooting before calling a friend via FaceTime. The child was unharmed physically. The case remains open to determine the circumstances that led to the shooting.
And 2 people were displaced after a house fire Tuesday afternoon in Lula on Georgia 52, as WDUN's William Daughtry reports.
2 people and a dog were displaced Tuesday after a fire destroyed a single-story home on Highway 52 near Lula. According to Hall County Fire Rescue, crews arrived at around 12 p.m. to find the home's basement fully engulfed in flames. Firefighters worked from the exterior to knock down the blaze, eventually bringing it under control. The home was declared a total loss, and a vehicle parked in the driveway was also destroyed.
There's more news online at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN forecast.
Good Wednesday morning, North Georgia. Mostly sunny skies. It is so beautiful. Afternoon highs, pleasant as can be, in the low 70s. Will be clear into the evening as well. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Winder, 58 degrees, Cleveland, 56, and in Gainesville, 57. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
For more than 40 years, Eagle Ranch has provided a community of support for children and families with significant challenges. I'm John Vardaman, a proud Gainesvillian and a longtime friend and supporter of Eagle Ranch. I've watched the ranch grow from a dream to a pillar in our community. It now offers outpatient counseling and a day school alongside its residential program. In all this change, Jesus Christ is still at the center. Learn more at eagleranch.org.
Building, moving, remodeling, they all create more waste than will fit in your average garbage can. Thank goodness for Waste Eliminator. They offer roll-off dumpsters in all sizes. Just visit wasteeliminator.com, click on Order Dumpster, and they'll deliver just what you need. From simple home cleanout to large commercial projects, Waste Eliminator handles it all. Schedule your roll-off dumpster today at wasteeliminator.com. Environmentally responsible and committed to customer service. It's Waste Eliminator.
From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show. Talking the issues and filling in for Martha, it's Dr. Tom Smiley on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
Welcome back. I am Tom Smiley filling in for Martha Zoller. And management just walked in. Management, bless their hearts. I love management. And I was just informed that I am having such a great show today that another star is being added to my parking spot. How about that, Bill Crane? You can't beat that.
Well, 2 stars at 3 stars now, Dr. Tom. That is impressive.
That's impressive. All right, Bill, I've got lots of stuff for you. But before we do anything, I want you to help me finish my earlier conversation about the nuclear option, the filibuster. And I've been talking about, in my opinion, and I want to hear yours, I think it's time. One of our listeners called in, texted in, and said, look, as much as I'd like to see it, I'm afraid what the Democrats will do if they get in power. But now I want you to listen to what J.D.
and they
Vance.
will, and that's why I will continue to think the filibuster and cloture votes are an important part of the Senate being able to apply the brakes.
All right, now I knew I had a feeling you were going to say that, but I want you to give me your thoughts on what J.D. Vance said about this. Listen to this.
Something that I want every conservative to remember. It's an important part of my entire political philosophy is we cannot be afraid to do something because the left might do it in the future. The left is already going to do it regardless of whether we do it.
All right, Bill, is that accurate?
I don't think so. Now, I will mention that when Harry Reid was a Democrat from Nevada as U.S. Senate Majority Leader, he took the requirement for nominating and putting forth federal support court judges, appellate court, circuit court judges, from 60 votes down to 51, a simple majority, and then soon after we got the same for the U.S. Supreme Court. The Republican Party and conservatives have benefited from that because it was much easier to get the current majority on the court appointed under the Trump administration with 51 votes who would have never gotten 60. That said, there are more complex and bigger pieces of legislation like the budget that the U.S. House tends to be the more reactive chamber, the more emotional chamber, the more knee-jerk chamber, and sometimes you need the U.S. Senate just to function as the brakes to slow things down. So I'm still a fan myself of there being filibuster and cloture. I do think the American people have a right to be anxious about those government shutdown, but to the opposite of what J.D. Vance just said, I am concerned if there was a very progressive majority in Congress and the Democrats are in control, what they would do with that 51 votes. We are a republic, not just a simple democracy, and I don't believe it's always best just simply all big issues be decided by 50% plus one.
All right, that's fair. That's fair analysis. I agree with that. We're talking to Bill Crane, my friend, who is a tremendously well-known and very capable political analyst. He's given commentary basically on many subjects all over the world, and we're fortunate to have him on the Martha Zoller Show. All right, let's talk about post-election stuff. Bill, tell me first about Georgia. We just elected 2 Democrats to the Public Service Commission. What's that about?
This election reminds me sort of a mirror universe version of the 2002 election when everyone was surprised when Roy Barnes and the incumbent U.S. Senator lost to Saxby Chambliss, who was running from the U.S. House, and Sonny Perdue, who was the first Republican elected governor of Georgia, and then there were down-ticket implications. Now, I will point out, this isn't a presidential election. This isn't a even-numbered election year where we're electing state offices. So the results It's not apples to apples. In a municipal election like yesterday, we had like 900,000 voters show up between early voting and on election day. That's about a 12 to 15% turnout, depending on what the final numbers are, which is pathetic. But in a presidential election year that trues up in the state elections, we'll probably have close to 4 million. So you can't quite say apples to apples. But that said, it's not a good day for incumbents. It's not a good day for the GOP. Even in GOP strongholds or where there were GOP incumbents in some local offices, mayor's races, etc., Steve Thunder Tumlin, the very popular, well-known incumbent mayor of Marietta, beat a 24-year-old unknown by 87 votes. There was a lot of closer than it should have been. And I do think, I'm not a big tea leaves reader, but I do think some of that is aimed at the Democratic Party having a message that was aimed at the president, not necessarily just at local races. And they definitely turned their voters out better than the Republican Party did.
So, Bill, tell me about the GOP. Like, I mean, it seems like the Democrats can get their people out just with a dog whistle. But the GOP, do we not have strong leadership in the GOP, strategic leadership, like Lee Atwater leadership? Do we not have that in the GOP now, state and nationwide?
Well, a couple things. So, and this is not a slam on Josh McCoon, the current chair of the Georgia GOP, but the structure is different. So, for example, Governor Kemp has a leadership pack, as does Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, that are now, in many ways, better funded than the state party. The donors can give unrestricted amounts as long as the amounts of those donations are disclosed. Larger donors have moved and migrated, both for the Republican and Democratic parties, away from the traditional parties into these super PACs. On the Democratic side, we've seen the work of Stacey Abrams and the Fair Fight Georgia and the Georgia Voter Project be monumental in the number of voters they identified, registered, and turned out. There wasn't that kind of turnout by either party, but I would say, like, looking at the PSC race, you had two incumbents. One who's been on the PSC, Public Service Commissioner, a pretty good amount of time, Tim Echols, who has reasonably solid statewide name ID. And it looks like the margin is going to be around 200,000 votes that both he and Fitz Johnson lost those races. Mm-hmm. But they were targeted. I mean, I get mailers from both sides. I get emails from both sides. I get fundraising and text solicitations from both sides. But they were much more effective and much more number coming from the Democratic Party and the aligned PACs for those two Democrats trying to set up the messaging that Georgia is a purple state and Georgia's on the bubble and Georgia can be flipped. I think Georgia is still a red state, but red voters have to turn out for that to be in effect.
So will the voters, in your opinion, turn out in the midterms with Trump not on the ballot?
Not with the same enthusiasm. Neither Brian Kemp nor Donald Trump will be on the ballot in 2026. And when we saw those two on the ballot in 2022 and 2024, it drove up Republican turnout, particularly where it needed it. If in where you are, Hall County, if Hall County, Forsyth County, and Cherokee County, which are the three highest turnout percentages and some of the highest raw vote totals in the state, and there were only 3 counties in the top 10 of vote totals, had turned out, say, 20-25% yesterday, given the percentages that typically go in favor of the Republican nominee, those two Public Service Commission candidates would have been reelected on the Republican side. They didn't hit that number. None of those 3 counties did. As a result, those 3 counties down, and some tight municipal races in places like Atlanta and multiple Fulton County municipal races, multiple DeKalb County municipal races. The offsetting blue team, if you will, county votes were a higher percentages.
So you don't. So what's your analysis on the governor's race? Will the governor's race not pump up turnout?
It'll pump up, and I think that whoever the Republican nominee is right now, I think that will be Burt Jones. That could change. Will still prevail in the governor's race. But
who's the Democrat? Who's the Democrat, you think?
Today, I would say it'll be Keisha Lance Bottoms, which makes it an easier, in my opinion, an easier win for whomever the Republican nominee is. She's leading the last 2 polls that I've seen that are public polls, as well as the slew of polls they've done internally. She's between 20 and 30 points ahead of her nearest competition, which appears to be Michael Thurman, the former labor commissioner and CEO of DeKalb County.
And you don't think that she can pull large minority numbers?
She will pull very well among African-American women, which are the largest base part of the Democratic Party's vote. I don't think she will do as well outstate as she does in Metro Atlanta. She's sort of a Metro Atlanta media darling. She's telegenic. She comes across well. She comes across very loud, knowledgeable and articulate. But when you have real scrutiny, which whoever the GOP nominee is, of her record as Atlanta mayor and some of the things that happened during the Summer of Racial Justice 2020, the death of Sequoia Turner, and some of the things that are part of her public record, I think her numbers will soften among African American men. I think her numbers will soften among independents. And Georgia, which is a well-managed conservative state economically speaking, will stay in Republican hands.
Tell me, Bill Crane. We're talking to Bill Crane, political analyst. Tell me, Bill Crane, about Marjorie Taylor Greene. What is going on? Why is she? Why? A couple of stories I've had where she's just coming out and like airing our dirty laundry. And I mean, I don't understand. What is her strategy?
Oh, I can honestly say I've never watched an entire episode of The View, and that record stands intact, but I did watch her interview yesterday. Two things. The whispers, and I'm not close to Ms. Greene or her Taylor Greene or her staff, but the whispers I'm hearing from those around her and some of her supporters is she is still eyeballing and considering entering the Georgia governor's race in 2026. If she does that, she shakes the field up a pretty good bit, and she largely takes votes away from Burt Jones. We'll see if she's going to do that or not.
Does she have to resign her? Does she have to resign her present spot?
She can't qualify for both. She doesn't have to resign her seat. She could serve through January, but if she would, when she qualifies, not be able to seek re-election to her current House seat. So she would basically be ending her term of service there in January of 2027. And she couldn't seek re-election, so she either wins the governor's race and moves into the mansion, or she's no longer in office.
She's not winning.
It would be the result of that.
She's not.
I agree. I agree with you. But I do think she shakes the field up a lot if she gets in. I had done business. I work for WSB Radio, and her family company, Taylor Construction, is a big advertiser. So over the years, I've met her in a business setting before she was in Congress 2 or 3 times. And the person I've met was much closer to the person I watched on television yesterday than the way most of us know and perceive Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I kind of have to ask, watching that interview, why she hasn't met. I mean, she's not a freshman. She's not a newbie. She raises a ton of money for her own campaigns and spends it on other GOP candidates. Why don't we see more of that sort of calm, civil, rational Marjorie Taylor Greene? And I think the answer to that is she's found the shrill Marjorie Taylor Greene to be more effective, raising money, scaring people, being a force in the party.
All right, tell me, Bill Crane, tell me what happened in New York.
A combination of Eric Adams and kind of the failure of his first term kind of caused a schism within the Democratic Party there. The city has a real problem on its hands with, if you're under 50 and you move to New York and you're not from there and your family has lived there all these generations, finding affordable housing in Manhattan is impossible. But even in the 4 of the other outer boroughs, it's becoming harder and harder for someone who relocated. New York used to be a city of opportunity, like a lot of America still is. And it gets harder and harder for those without to ever become those with in the Big Apple. So you've got a lot of newer voters, people that are transplants or not longtime native New Yorkers. And the city is becoming almost impossible to, like San Francisco or Los Angeles, in terms of costs. So you have those factors working together. Governor Cuomo, as well as his father, are well regarded by some within the Democratic Party, but generationally they tend to be 50 plus. And so looking at, as we break through the turnout yesterday in New York, as well as the advanced voting, it appears that there were a lot of young voters. It appears there were a lot of disaffected voters, and the numbers were just huge for Mr. Mondani. But I think just as huge will be the exodus of wealth and capitalists who live in Manhattan, around Central Park, the Upper East Side and Upper West Side, down in the financial district. They will suddenly become residents of New York State, New Jersey, Connecticut. They will move out of Manhattan, or at least they will move their legal residence out of Manhattan. And that wealth goes with them. Capital is liquid. And so all of the things Mondani wants to fund, there will be less resource available to do that. And I don't think Donald Trump is a president we can look to. New York is bankrupted twice. This might be the 3rd time. I don't think we can expect a federal government bailout.
Do you buy the doom of I mean New York is going to end up being like just a nuclear destruction area? I mean, do you buy that level of doom?
I don't know that we get there that fast, but I do think the movie To Escape to New York, which is a favorite of mine with Kurt Russell, should be reviewed because it's a very expensive city to operate from just a logistical point of view. And the president already has cut some major infrastructure improvements that are going to happen. They were going to put a new rail tunnel in to allow more than one rail line and one train at a time to cross over under the river from New Jersey into New York. That's been scotched. I think there'll be more infrastructure improvements that were pre-funded by Congress cut or at least held up by the president. He said he will. So with less federal money and with less local dollars, the only place that Manhattan residents have to go or can go is the state of New York, and it's running in the red. So I foresee a third bankruptcy. Now, maybe it's not as deep as the John Lindsay bankruptcy, and maybe the recovery is not as slow. You and I are old enough to remember thousands of tons of trash sitting on the streets of Manhattan and rats everywhere. I hope that I love New York enough. I don't want to see that happen to its residents or its visitors. I don't want to see that return to that foul stage of history, but it's possible.
Bill Crane, thank you so much. I'll be on for Martha again later in the month. I'll look forward to talking to you then. You're excellent commentator, excellent analysis. I really do appreciate your taking the time to talk with me and our listeners. Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure, Dr. Tom. Take care.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. What good commentary. I mean, Bill Crane, he just basically speaks the truth, in my opinion. You can disagree with him, but, I mean, he has great analysis, and you should consider it, as do I. I don't agree with everything, but we may talk more about that when we come back. We'll take a quick break. I am Tom Smiley, filling in for Martha Zoller.
When it comes to where you get your news, what's important to you?
I want to hear news that doesn't take sides.
I want to hear clear reporting that's easy to understand.
Always here with the news you need. AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Have you ever been at your wit's end over conflict? Hi, this is Whit Martin, pastor of Asbury Chapel. You may have heard it said, misery loves company. But what if we were able to leave misery alone and join company that brings joy and peace? I'm talking about company that is family, the family of God. The Bible says in Matthew 5:9, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." God's children make peace by first introducing others to God, the Father of this joyful family called the church, and then by bringing peace to those around them. Just as God made peace with sinners so that they can know and have salvation, so God's children are about the same business. What a world this can be if we will be about the business of making peace. And that is Wit's End. Asbury Chapel invites you to learn more by joining us for worship at 758 Main Street on Sundays at 10 a.m. Visit asburychapel.net for more.
Some car dealers want to sell you a car. At Hardy Chevrolet, we'd rather help you find the vehicle that's right for you. This is Mike Cormier. We call it the Hardy Chevrolet difference. Since you're the one who will be in the driver's seat of that new Chevy, we think you should be in the driver's seat when it comes to making the selection. It's like Charles Hardy always said,
we love you and we need you.
Together, let's drive. At Hardy Chevrolet, Browns Bridge Road in Gainesville, online at hardychevrolet.com.
Are your fall projects piling up? Let's stay ahead of every cleanup job with the power and dependability of Steel Power Equipment. From blowers that clear your yard in no time to chainsaws and trimmers that make fall work easy, Steel has the tools built to last season after season. And when you're ready to gear up, head to Howard Brothers, your trusted Steel dealer. Their team will help you find exactly what you need to make fall jobs feel effortless. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Steel and Howard Brothers.
I'm willing to wager that when you cook, you don't skimp on quality. At Loretta's Country Kitchen, we don't either. This is Grant Nichols at Loretta's, where we use only the best ingredients, including Springer Mountain chicken tenders, canned sauces, Hormel bacon, and Jimmy Dean sausage. It's also why we make our biscuits from scratch every day. We don't compromise on quality, and neither should you. Enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner with us, and bring your friends. Loretta's Country Kitchen, Monday Mill Road, Oakwood, where it's all good.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, a fire destroys a home and vehicle in Lula Tuesday afternoon, displacing a local family. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Welcome back to the Martha Zoller Show. I am Tom Smiley filling in for Martha. So very happy to have you with us. Now, we get lots of text. So many texts this morning. Man, it's been a great show. Raise that left hand. Reach way there behind your back. Pat yourself on the back. There you go. Hey, we've got a caller lined up, but I tell you, we only have like 90 seconds in this segment, and I want to give you more time. So please hang on. I want to hear what you have to say, your opinion about the filibuster, okay? So I know it's going to be a little break through the news, but please hang on and stay in the loop, in the queue. And others of you can call now if you like, 770-535-2911. Got a text, a nice complimentary text from a listener, 6912. She did want me to ask the question to Bill Crane. I didn't see the text in time, but about why did Atlanta get to keep open their polling stations until 8 when others in Georgia closed at 7? Good question. Could do with numbers in line, could do with if they had any kind of mechanism breakdowns, they had to make up that time. So there are some reasons for that. That's been my experience having been the Hall County chairman of the Board of Elections. So that would be a couple of suggestions. All right, here I wanted to give you this brief audio. It takes about 15 seconds. You know, it's about those silly protesters. I mean, all these protesters, the no king protesters, all these silly protesters. This pretty well sums them up, in my opinion.
What do we want?
We don't know.
When do we want it?
Also unclear.
Why do we want it?
Because it was forwarded to us in an email, so it must be true. Yeah!
There you go. There you go. Bill, Logan Extraordinaire, play that one more time. And here, what do we want? When do we want it? Why do we want it? Listen to this. This is exactly accurate.
What do we want?
We don't know.
When do we want it?
Also unclear.
Why do we want it?
Because it was forwarded to us in an email, so it must be true. Yeah!
Go get them. Go get them. No king for me. Holy moly. I tell you, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And if you cry, you'll get depressed. And so, look, the sun's coming up tomorrow unless the Lord comes back. That's my particular biblical worldview. I fully anticipate the sun to come up in the morning unless the Lord comes back, the eastern sky splits, and, you know, all that end times begin. So, that's just my opinion, and that's what I believe with all my heart. So don't be distressed. Don't be discouraged. Hey, stay in the fight. Look, 30 more minutes coming. I got a great story or two for you, some sound bites as well. You're listening to Tom Smiley on the Martha Zoller Show. We'll be right back.
Talking with Haley from Clipper, and you know, Haley, every time I go into a Clipper, I feel very welcome. The staff is so welcoming, but you've also gone a step further, especially with your new store in Flowery Branch. Tell us about it.
We want to make sure that anybody who comes into our store is welcome and has all the facilities that they need. So we have installed adult changing tables so that anybody who needs that can use it while they're traveling.
Always innovating at Clipper, always looking out for you, the customer. Check them out. The new store there in Flowery Branch, exit 14. Clipper, never fly solo.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Here's the tale of the daily med fill. Same old pharmacy, same old bill. But those prices kept rising higher still.
Till the savings wrangler rode in.
cool as can be. Tap GoodRx, saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. Deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Work up an appetite and help the Cops and Kids Christmas program. Be part of the Cops and Gobblers 5K and Fun Run. It starts in front of our studios in downtown Gainesville Thanksgiving morning. Register today at copsandgobblers5k.com. Brought to you by Hasty Pope and North Georgia's News Talk.
Happy Thanksgiving.
WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10:30.
Fox News, I'm CJ Papa. Major test of presidential power in front of the U.S. Supreme Court over President Trump's use of tariffs.
The plaintiffs, which include some small businesses, aren't buying the administration's argument that the president has the power to simply levy tariffs in any amount at any time he'd like to. They have given extra time today to this case. They've given it 80 minutes. It'll probably go 2 or 3 hours. Then they have a first vote behind closed doors this Friday. We won't know the result of that.
Fox's Shannon Breen, the justices have fast-tracked the case. President Trump speaking to Republican senators at the White House this morning.
If you read the pollsters, the shutdown was a big factor, negative for the Republicans. And that was a big factor. And they say that I wasn't on the ballot was the biggest factor.
Democrats sweeping to victory in the governor's races in New Jersey and Virginia. And Zoran Mondani is the new mayor-elect in New York City. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. Municipal elections in Georgia complete for 2025. Here in the city of Gainesville, a city council post and a board of education seat were decided last night as John Elliott defeated Albert Reeves for the Ward 2 city council post, taking 67% of the vote. He'll replace Zach Thompson, who left that seat to run unopposed for Gainesville mayor. And Thompson in turn replaces Sam Kuvion, who's leaving the mayoral office to run for Congress in the 9th District next year. Meanwhile, on the school board front, Trey McFall narrowly defeated Amy McKinney-Kerr to win the District 2 seat. Full election results can be found at Access WDUN for North Georgia. Nearly 20% of the population in Georgia participated in the elections yesterday, according to data. More from GNN's Rebecca Hughes.
Data obtained by Atlanta News First reports that over 800,000 Georgia residents voted in yesterday's statewide races, with over 540,000 people voting early. Voter Christy York speaking with Atlanta News First about why it seems more younger voters are participating.
I think we're tired of seeing a huge amount of older people who are disconnected from the reality we're in.
Voter Sherry Stroud says she sees a lot of younger voters at her polling location.
There were so many young people that did vote that I didn't see vote last year and the year before that.
The youth vote was present with more than 70,000 people under the age of 34 voting early, according to the data.
More news online at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
North Georgia, mostly sunny skies. Afternoon highs, pleasant as can be, in the low 70s. Will be clear into the evening as well. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Clayton, 56 degrees, Dawsonville, 60, and in Gainesville, 59. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Hey, Daddy, what's in a crawl space?
That's a good question, Annie. I'm Cody Lovin with Crawl Space Medic. Musty smells, dampness, and sagging insulation means your crawl space or basement might need some attention. Our team quickly finds and fixes moisture problems, updates moisture barriers, and resolves structural issues, ensuring your home stays dry and comfortable. Don't let your crawl space problems affect your comfort, air quality, or property value. Visit crawlspacemedic.com.
A healthy home starts from the ground up.
Whether it's a slip that ends in a slip disc, a trick knee that's holding you back, or shoulder pain hurting your game, you can count on Northside Hospital Orthopedics. With leading care in Georgia at convenient locations all across the state, we're here to get you back on your feet, no matter what comes your way. Because Georgia moves us, and we keep Georgia moving. Find a provider near you at northside.com/ortho. That's northside.com/ORTHO.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Welcome back. We've got lots of text. I got a caller online. I've got a great text from a listener who wants me to go into some detail about the election board in Hall County and how that relates to other counties in the state, et cetera, et cetera. And so I've got your text. That's 5877 number, and I will go over your questions because I think they're very good questions about how the election board and boards throughout the state work. And I do know something about that, given I was the chairman of the Hall County Board of Elections for about 6 years. But I want to go to the phones because Tion's been waiting, been so patient. Welcome to the Martha Zoller Show, Tion. Glad to have you.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
I sure can. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Tion in Miami. Good morning, Pastor Smiley.
Glad to have you today. What's on your mind?
Yes. Is there a smart way to use the nuclear option? I was listening to you and your guests off and on, and I can kind of hear, the concern over that. Mm-hmm. And you know what the Democrats will do. You know how they are. Yeah. Is there, maybe some limits or carve-outs that where you, and when I say limits and carve-outs, you can only use it for, like, say, situations for where there's an impasse like this, government shutdowns. That way, the Democrats are going to just go out of control with it. They're the ones, I think, that are going to become dictatorial when they get that type of power. Because, again, that's the concern here.
That's a great question, and Bill Crane alluded to the fact that there are some various situations, like he talked about the federal appointments of judges, the Supreme Court appointments. He talked about. So I didn't really understand if you can carve out, some specifics, or if it's, once you do it, you've done it. But you know what, Tion, my concern is this. Last time it was tried by the Democrats, you had the guy from West Virginia. What's his name? He just retired, the senator. What I'm talking about, the West Virginia senator, Manchin.
Joe Manchin.
Joe Manchin. He was firmly, as a Democrat, opposed, and he would not allow it. And the Democrats wanted to do it then. They wanted to pack the court. I don't know, Tion, do we have Democrats of that kind of standing now? I mean, we can't even find 5 who will vote to overcome the shutdown.
Right. I don't think you can count on that. I don't. Joe Manchin, Democrats, those type of Democrats, unfortunately, he may have been the very last one, conservative type of Democrats like that. So I don't think what you have is AOC and the squad type Democrats that would just do nothing but turn the nation upside down in the name of social justice and DEI. That's the kind of Democrats that you have.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And one thing, too, Tion, that we talked about with the nuclear option, people say, well, if you do it, then the Democrats are going to turn around and undo everything you've done. But now, Tion, remember this with me. Obamacare isn't even that effective, but people have gotten used to it, and you can't get it overturned. So if we could get some stuff passed that the people liked and benefited from, then maybe the Democrats, when they got in power, wouldn't be able to undo it. What do you think?
It's possible, unless, we have to have the best minds on this. I don't know if there's a way that, where you use the strength of the strength of this nuclear option such that, once we pass something, it's very difficult legislatively to undo it. I don't know if that's even possible. Because that's what, and you bring up a good point. They're gonna undo everything that Trump did, including protection for the southern border, the wall, the ICE agents, and all of that. They're gonna reduce all of that, and it's gonna be like what it was before, and they're 10 times worse with all these illegals coming in. And that's something near and dear to my heart as a proud American citizen who is a legal immigrant coming to this country. And I have concern over that as well.
Tion, I really appreciate you calling from Miami. You're a great caller. I'll be on Martha's show again toward the end of the month. I hope you'll call me back again very soon. Tion from Miami. Thank you so much. Good to have you with us. Yeah. All right. Let me give you a plug real quick. And by the way, extraordinary producer, I want to do the Nigeria sound first in just a minute, so we're going to do that in a second. But the Longstreet Society, just go to your computers, your devices, type in longstreetsociety.org. There is a great web page there, the General James Longstreet Society. Very great group of people. I'm telling you, I'm getting to know some of these people. And they're just a great group. I've been asked by their society to do the opening address this Friday night at their conference, their annual conference, and lots of things are going on. That little opening address Friday night, several events on Saturday, some tours, a grand opening of the new Piedmont where James Longstreat, he and his wife ran that here in Gainesville over on Maple Street. Some other field trips. So anyway, go to the James Longstreet, the longstreetsociety.org website. Look around there, click on information about this weekend's conference, and join us. There's room for you, and we'd love to have you. And I look forward to giving my address on Friday. Specifically, I'll be speaking about General James Longstreet's spiritual formation. Others will be talking about his military exploits and how valuable he was in that regard, but I'm going to be focusing on his spiritual formation. Very interesting, I must say. Didn't know anything about it until I started researching it about 3 months ago when I was asked to do this assignment. So I read a couple of books, got involved in some research, and really found it to be quite interesting. I think you will too. Well, one thing that's really concerning me, that's on my heart, are the Christians in Nigeria that are just being butchered. We haven't heard much about that. And I want to know, where are the protesters? Where are the protesters? Why aren't you out there protesting what's happening in Nigeria to these Christians? It is a true genocide. True genocide, these Christian people. My heart breaks for them. I am their brother in Christ. And tens of thousands are being just annihilated for no reason other than they are a Christian. They won't bow the knee to Islam. Dear God, may that not happen here, but it could one day. Here's an audio about that and some of what the President Trump spokesperson says about what he is contemplating if this doesn't get addressed quickly by the government.
If the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the United States will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria and may take action to wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities, especially against innocent women and children.
I mean, can you agree with that? Well, obviously, easy to agree with cutting off all aid. That gets right to their pocketbooks. Because the government in Nigeria is just corrupt enough to be pocketing, a lot of this aid. There's no telling where some of the money is going. Offshore accounts, Caribbean accounts, wherever. I'm telling you, it's corrupt enough that some of the political people in Nigeria are pocketing and benefiting personally from this aid. So maybe that will get their attention, because when you start dealing with their pocketbook, they get their attention kind of gathered up. But would you be in favor of Trump doing something specifically, strategically, to address these butchers that are killing these Christians in Nigeria? Would you be in favor of that? I mean, I'm just asking. 770-535-2911. You can give me a call or text me your opinion about that. So, anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. I'm very concerned about it. We should be praying about this in our churches. If you are a Christ follower, I know some of you are not, so okay, fine, I give you that. But if you are a Christ follower, maybe you could pause now and pray for God's grace upon these Nigerian Christians who are being butchered. And talking about people who need relief, those are the people who we need to be giving aid and assistance to. And where are the protesters on the college campus at Columbia? Where are you? Okay. Well, I just wanted to bring that up. We'll take a quick break. 10:44 is the time. You're listening to Tom Smiley on the Martha Zoller Show. Got a couple of more sound bites you've got to hear before we call it a day, and some calls lined up and some text lines up. We'll get to all that after this word.
Everyone wants to live a rich life, especially in retirement. Join Rich Life advisor Bo Henderson for the Rich Life Retirement Show, where the math shows you the path. Sundays at 12:35 on WDUN.
Waste Eliminator is a full-service waste management company providing critical disposal, recycling, and environmental solutions for business and residential clients. From large-scale commercial projects to smaller residential cleanups, Waste Eliminator offers reliable dumpster rental service tailored to your needs. Whether you're tackling a renovation, new construction, or even a simple home cleanout, Waste Eliminator will manage the waste efficiently and sustainably. Visit online at wasteeliminator.com.
For over 70 years, Howard Brothers has been helping Georgia get the job done right. From outdoor power equipment and hardware to service and repairs, they've got the brands you trust and the people who know their stuff. Whether you're a homeowner, a pro, or just someone who loves a good project, Howard Brothers is your local partner for quality, honesty, and experience. With locations across North Georgia, stop by today or visit howardbrothers.com and see why the grass is always greener when you take care of it with Howard Brothers.
Should you make your trust the beneficiary of your IRA? So many say you shouldn't, but we say you should. This is Kevin Tharp, elder law and estate planning attorney, and if you want your IRA to be protected for your surviving spouse, children, or family, then you should leave it to them at your death through a trust. For more information, go to my website, kevintharp.com.
Are you making these two deadly mistakes with your emergency food supply? The first mistake is not having an emergency food supply to begin with. The second mistake is buying an emergency food supply, but not having a way to cook the meals in an emergency. That's why My Patriot Supply created the Black Friday Survival Special. It comes with a 4-week food supply, plus $150 worth of free gifts, including everything you need to prepare your emergency meals, like a cook stove, fuel, fire starters, plus a water purifier, bug-out bag, and more. It's the complete survival kit your family needs to ride out natural disasters, civil unrest, or worse. Plus, it makes a great Christmas gift, but it's only available through Black Friday. So head over to mypatriotsupply.com to check out everything that's included. With all the uncertainty in the world, disaster preparedness is more important than ever. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and get prepared today. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, municipal elections in Georgia sees many Northeast Georgia counties approving SPLOST referendums and making changes to the Public Service Commission. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN talk and text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
All right. Well, Tom Smiley filling in for Martha. I hate to overpromise and underdeliver. I really do. I hate to overpromise and underdeliver. So I did mention that I was going to talk about why New York voted as they did, and it's not the reasons you think. It's a great article from Lee Hartley Carter. Look that up, Google that if you want to read it. But I'm going to hold that till tomorrow. It's just too important to just blaze right by today. So can I do that? Can you just give me a little favor there and let me share this with you, because it's really interesting. Not only about why New York did what it did, but what the GOP needs to learn from it. We had Ed from Brazelton on the line, but he had to go through the break. I was interested in talking to Ed. He was going to talk about this Nigeria Christian thing, being the Christians being butchered and killed. And if you would be in favor, you being those of you who are listening, would you be in favor to, number one, cutting off aid? That's a no-brainer kind of thing until they do something about it. And then, but number two, actually attacking the Islamic terrorists. I mean, actually taking them out, as we've done in the past. Of course, I may be a little biased because I am a Christian, and I can't bear to see Christians as being annihilated like they are. And no, it's not the same as in Gaza. So don't bring that up, that, there's a genocide going on in Gaza. It's not apples to apples. We talk about that if you want to. I'm talking about Nigeria, Christians in Nigeria. As far as I know, they haven't been armed. They haven't killed anybody. They're not fighting back in that regard. So don't just get your mind right if you're going to talk to me about that. Well, one thing that this whole Madami situation has revealed to us is it has revealed to us just the danger, I think, of socialism, and when you marry that with radical Islamic terror. I'm not saying that Madami isn't a radical Islamic terrorist. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying there's a connection between the two. I found this interesting soundbite. This is a commentator who's talking about, I'm sorry I don't have his name, but he's talking about the two great destroyers of Western life as we know it. Western life as we know it. And this is something for you to understand, especially in regards to your children and grandchildren in the future they're going to have. We better get this tapped down, because I'm telling you, these are two of the greatest destroyers, and we're seeing it kind of unfold in some of the places of our own country right now, i.e. New York, i.e. Minnesota. All right? Take a listen to this and give me your thoughts.
Liberals have embraced the two greatest destroyers of a civilization. Throughout history, if you know anything, you know that the two greatest destroyers of a civilization are communism and Islam. And communism gets in through leftist ideologies, fast-tracked by socialism, which is what the Democrats are embracing. Look at Mamdani. He checks off both boxes. He's an Islamic socialist. And this is who the Democrats are. They are embracing the two destroyers of civilization, and they're doing so while trying to tear apart and rip apart the family unit. Take away family, take away basic biological truths, take away God, and embrace insanity. Manipulate your voter base on emotion. Because if you can make someone believe that a man can become a woman, you can make them believe anything. If you can get people to support terrorism, the Islamification of the West, you can get them to support anything. Europe will fall because of it. Take it from somebody who has spent the last 3 years living in England. It happens in less than a generation.
Well, that's excellent commentary from my viewpoint. I'm sorry I don't have her name, but that's excellent commentary. And what I wanted you to see is just, it just doesn't happen overnight. And socialism is the gateway to more communism ideology. It's a gateway drug, so to speak. And that's a danger. And radical Islamist is very destructive. And it just chips away. I mean, look, she is exactly correct. When you get people believing that a man can become a woman, when you get people believing that a man can have a baby, I mean, how many audios have I shared with you from these expert witnesses before Congress who can't even answer the question, what is a woman? Can men have babies? I mean, we just saw elected in Virginia a governor who can't even answer, should women sports be invaded by men? She gives this soft, ridiculous, well, have you ever seen a transgender person? That's not the question. It's not whether you've seen a transgender person is not the question. Whether you know a transgender person is not the question. Whether you have compassion for a transgender person is not the question. The question is, should a biological male, be allowed to play in girls' sports? Period. I can answer that question apart from talking about compassion for a transgender person. I mean, you understand? All this stuff gets chipped away. Now, I want our extraordinary producer, brother Logan. I want him to pull up for me the audio I have of Bill Maher who talks about the Democrats being embarrassed by America. It's on that audio reel feed. And it's just good commentary from Bill Mayer. We'll stop it. I'll try to stop it before I get to a couple of his ugly words that he shouldn't use. But if you could just get through that for a moment, he does give some good commentary about why he thinks Democrats are doomed, because they're embarrassed by America. And Bill Maher says so. So listen to this. I want you to listen to it. We'll try to beep out the ugly word, but just listen carefully.
Seriously, this is a serious problem for Democrats. Less than 1 in 4 Democrats under 30 say they're proud to be an American. 54% say they're embarrassed by it. Embarrassed? Like America's your mom picking you up at school? You're embarrassed to be an American? Well, guess what? The feeling's mutual, because you have no perspective. Is America perfect? No, of course not. No country is. Although don't get Tucker Carlson started on Russia. Globalize the intifada is the catchphrase that's really catching on these days, as if worldwide suicide bombing and cosplaying Islamic revolutionaries is the answer to our problems. At an AOC Bernie Sanders rally in Idaho last month, someone threw a Palestinian flag over an American flag, and the crowd erupted in approval. What should have happened after that is one of the adults on stage should have told their young, loyal followers, this is not a symbol of freedom. This is.
That's exactly right. And what he did at that point was show the picture of American flag. Well, we may talk more about that tomorrow as well. We've got a minute or two. Let me just go for just a second. We have one of our texters asked about election boards. So every county has its own elections board. They're set up different. In Hall County, the election board consists of 5 individuals, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, and then a chairman who is nonpartisan. That's who I was for 6 years. And that election board works with a director of elections and with an election staff to have elections, safe, secure elections. And we did that very well. During my tenure, I was very proud of the work we did. We had an excellent director in Lori Worst. She's still there, and an excellent electoral staff, election board. So yes, every election board is consists of different members, different makeups, but they basically have the same function. They're supposed to just run the elections fairly. And even though we had 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and then myself, a nonpartisan, we got along very well. We disagreed on some things, but I can tell you what, nothing was done. No shortcuts were taken. Every legal vote was counted, and illegal votes were not. That's how we did it in Hall County. Now, how they do it in Fulton County, DeKalb County, and Chatham County, I can't tell you. It really comes down to the integrity of the people working in the elections department. That's why it's important to have good elections department. In our case, the election board members, the chairman was appointed by the Hall County commissioners, and the 2 representatives from the parties were nominated by the party. So there's a little brief rundown, and I hope that helps. We may talk more about that tomorrow. I am Tom Smiley. I'll be back tomorrow. I look forward to you joining me. You stay tuned.